I'm Lindsay and I have artisticisle.com. I make handmade watercolor and I'd love for you to join me on my creative journey. Alright, so I'm using this stamp as my inspiration. Let's see here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And this, we'll just consider my reference photo. So here we go. And you'll want to grab an India ink marker or a permanent marker of some kind. I'm just going to do some line work. For my little mug here. So the mug has a little foot at the bottom. This is not going to be exact, obviously, but we're just going to do some fun florals and draw this out. Normally, I would paint everything. I prefer gestural flowers so that they're not over here having to look perfect and everything. I get frustrated with my drawing abilities because I prefer my painting abilities, but I'm just trying to stretch myself. And we're gonna just draw some flowers in here. You don't want to have to think about it too much, just want to have some fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just think of flowers as little U shapes, and let's make those leaves and other items come out of there. Let's see here. You know, I might just stamp this in too and see what I think. And paint them all together. It is just my goal to be creative every day, and I'm sure this will turn out just fine. Maybe I'll paint another cup in there. You know, that's something my husband would say. That's funny. Oh, you're silly. That dry sense of humor. Let's see here. So you want an acrylic block, and just choose your stamp. And it's funny that your dry sense of humor comment. Let's see here. It's a good day to have a good day. Been up with the baby since 2:30. Let's see here. You better be nice, though. Giving you the benefit of the doubt. Oh, I like those leaves. Makes for a fun little pattern. Stamping is kind of an art in itself, because if you don't use the right amount of pressure, you won't get a proper image. It won't come away as clean. There you go. Now, let's see here. Now, the watercolor part is my fun part. So, I make all the paint by hand. This is caramel fudge. Now, it looks like that marker's not as permanent as I'd like it to be. You can see it's starting to bleed a little bit. But the ink is permanent, which is good. Archival ink is what you want to use when you're stamping with watercolor, so that the ink doesn't bleed into your painting. Adding a few different colors will help you with some dimension. I like this new Tranquil Blue. It's a mixture of a Prussian and a cerulean, because it doesn't get quite as dark as the Prussian, but it gets a little bit darker than a traditional cerulean to me. Now, I don't paint on canvas a lot, but I am enjoying creating with what feels like a new medium, because paper has a life of its own. I like that. Add me another layer. Let's see what I think of that color there. This is the New Year Blessing set. I'm painting with watercolor, creating some dimension. Adding in a foreground. I'll probably use some light azure to add a background, a little bit of a background. That or some mint, like the mint. That'll be a nice contrast. Yep, bummer. Pen was not waterproof like it should be. While it does say fadeless, it doesn't say waterproof, which is a bummer. means the lines will begin to disappear and likely bleed into my painting. See how the lines are starting to bleed a little bit around the side of the mug. It's important with watercolor that you use a permanent ink. And I went off cuff and did not test my pen before I used it. So alcohol ink or Sharpies will be considered permanent ink. And if the item does not say permanent or India ink, it's probably not. Now we can still fix this through the layering process and not getting the flowers too over wet. Now this guy, because I stamped it with the archival ink that is waterproof, it'll be fine. So this guy I don't have to worry about down here. It's not going to bleed or move on me at all. I am working on canvas. Now canvas is not quite as absorbent as watercolor paper would be. Now I should be okay on the mug right here in the center because I used archival ink on the leaves. There we go. Okay, I better dry this before it gets too crazy. Since it's bleeding on me a little bit, we're going to have to go in and add stronger outline. I have to kind of blend out that ink into the background. I feel like I can still salvage it though. Good morning. I hope that you take some time out of your day to create something. It's a very relaxing process. The only good thing about the ink is that it kind of aids a little bit of a shadow color as I move on the edges, and it mixes with the color that I have. It's the only positive thing I can say about it. And I guess it has its benefits, because where I did have the line work on the edge of the cup, it was in separate pieces. So now it'll just kind of blend in with everything else. All right, I'm going to finish this on time lapse. I hope you have a happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in.